Hey guys, this is a particular question, a similar question like all the other questions that you've been talking about, but this is an exam question that we are going to work with. So for our mathematics grade 10, we must expect questions of this nature on our simplification. So you'll be asked on this type of a question to simplify this to a single fraction, all right? So we are supposed to simplify. So the question is, how are we going to simplify this question that you're given? We have a subtraction, we have an addition, so we're subtracting and adding at the same time. Okay. So remember what I said, that there are two ways that we can play around with this type of equation, or that we can use to answer this type of equation. Okay. But both of those ways that we talked about, they all use the LCD. We have to find the LCD in the first place. So I'm going to find the LCD, then I'm going to explain the two methods that we talked about and see if we are still having the same thing. Okay. But in order for you to obtain the LCD in this case, you have to consider your denominators, because this is taken from our denominators. So they must be in simplest form, being factorized. So the first thing that we're going to do is to factorize so that we can be able to see what is the LCD. Okay, so let us factorize the first part. X plus 7, the numerator, there's nothing to do on that part. Don't, even if it factorizes, leave it like that, because we are not considering the numerators. We're talking about the lowest common denominator. We are talking about what? The denominator in that case. Okay, so how do we factorize this expression, this polynomial x squared minus x minus 6, which is a what? A trinomial in this case. Okay, so remember from our quadratic factorization, if this here is a 1, we can just save our two brackets, then we're going to put x here and put x, so that if we multiply x and x, we must get what? We must get x squared. And I told you guys that once you see a 1 here, don't focus with many things, okay? Focus with what? With a constant, which is -6. So we are going to need the products, okay? Two numbers that you're going to multiply to get -6 in this case, okay? But these two numbers, if you add them, they must give you a -1 in that case. And negative x means there's -1x. So in your multiplication or in finding these numbers, definitely they must be from factors of 6. And from factors of 6, the prime factors of 6 that we only know is 2 and 3. These are the prime factors. But just talking about normal factors, whether it's a prime factor or not, we can also talk about 1 and what? 1 and 6. 1 is not a prime number, remember. But these are the prime factors. Like if you multiply 2 times 3, you get a 6, which is fine. But we are saying we must have a -6. So in order for you to have a -6, it means one of these has to be a negative. So it's either we are going to have a -2 and a +3, because the product should be a negative. So there's no way the two numbers should be negative. Remember, a negative and a negative, it gives you a positive. Okay? Or it can be this one being a negative. So you can have a condition where 2 is a positive, but 3 is the one that is a negative. All we just need is to try and see which part that when you add, we're going to get what? A -1. So it's the same thing on this 1 and 6. When I have -1 and 6, and the other one, 1 is going to be positive, -6, 6 is going to be a negative. So those were just numbers that we're using to at least get a 6. But now you have to consider the sign, because there's a -6. So it can't be negative and negative at the same time. It can't be positive and what? And positive at the same time. It's impossible for us to get what? A negative from a positive and positive if you multiply. So the question is, yes, we know that all these numbers that we have here, if they are multiplied, they are going to give us a -6. But which of these pairs that we have of two numbers that when we add, we are going to get a -1? We add these two, we are going to get a +1, not a -1. So it's totally out. All right? If we add 2 plus minus 3, it means 2 minus 3, which is what? Which is minus 1, which is exactly the term that we want. If we add minus 1 and 6, it will give us a 5. 1 and minus 6, it will give us a minus 5. It's not the number that we want. What we want is minus 1. So the numbers that will give us a minus 1 is what? 2 and minus 3. So this is the perfect match that we need. So x plus 2, x minus 3, or you can have x minus 3, x plus 2, depending with the way that you want. Okay, then we're going to have minus 3 over x minus 3. On this part, there's nothing that we're going to be able to factor out. We do not have any highest common factor between 1 and 3. All right, but on this part here, we are going to factorize again. This is 2 over, if we check, there's a 2 that is common between 2 and what? 2 and 4. So you can factor 2. So if you factor 2, we are going to be left with what? 2x divided to this 2. That's 2x and 2 cancels. You remain with x like this, 2x over 2. So 2 and 2 cancels. You remain with what? You remain with x. This is the x that we have here. Then we do the same thing on this 4. We divide by the 2 that we factored out. So it's going to be 4 over 2, which is what? Which is a 2. So that will be plus 2. This is what we are supposed to write. But as you can see, the 2 that we have here and these 2, they can divide each other. We can simplify further because this is a multiplication. So if it is a multiplication, it means I can be able to reduce this. 2 into 2, that's a 1. 2 into 2, that's a 1. So it means I'm going to be left with a plus 1 over here. I'm just going to be left with what? With x plus 2. So this is how we could have simplified this part. Instead of working with 2 over, no. We can simplify it in a better way. So like I said, whether you are using, because we've got 2 methods that we're going to use in our addition and subtraction. Whether you are using one of the methods does not matter. What matters is that all of these methods, they need us to determine what is referred to as the LCD of the given denominators. What is the lowest common denominator, which is the one that carries all of the terms that are in the denominator. All of these should be found in the LCD. So we've got x plus 2, which is the same as this one, which is x plus 2. We've got x minus 3, which is the same as this one, which is x minus 3. So this is your LCD, x minus 3. Okay. So remember from the previous part, I said you can find, after finding this LCD, you can use everything over the LCD, or you can multiply in such a way that each and every fraction that you're going to have must have all the terms that are on the LCD, so that you can be able to just combine the numerators. Remember, I talked about if the denominators are the same, you can combine the numerators, whether it's addition or subtraction, you can add them. Okay, so here on the first fraction, there's x plus 2, there's x minus 3. We have these terms that are on our LCM, all of them. So there's nothing that you can do. We move on to the second one. There's x minus 3. So what are we going to need here so that we have x plus 2 and x minus 3? We are going to need what? X plus 2, because we have x minus 3. We have this one. So we are going to need what? We are going to need x plus 2. So if we are going to multiply by that part that we need, x plus 2 over x plus 2. Okay. We do the same thing on this one, plus 1 over x plus 2. What are we going to need on x plus 2 so that we have x plus 2 and x minus 3? We are going to need what is not here, and what are we not having here? It's x minus 3. So you're going to multiply by x minus 3 over x minus 3, like that. So by doing this, we are going to see that everything now is under the same denominator of x plus 2 and x minus 3, x plus 2 and x minus 3, x plus 2 and what? And x minus 3, everything. So we can write that. Remember, I said if the denominators are the same, what you do is that you simply combine everything that you have in the numerator the way that you see it. So what are we having in the numerator here? We have got x plus 7. Here we've got minus 3 into the bracket of x plus 2. In the numerator, we've got a bracket there of what? Of x plus 2. here we've got a plus 1 into the bracket of x minus 3. So this is going to be plus 1 into x minus 3. So that is everything now is being combined on the numerator, everything over that common denominator, which is your LCD of the given denominators. So also everything is going to be affected over the same terms x plus 2 and x minus 3, which is your what? Your LCD. But what we can do is to expand the bracket so that we can be able to collect our like terms, because we can see that there is x, but this x cannot be added or subtracted to any other x because of the bracket. So we're going to expand this bracket. So we're going to have x plus 7. So this is going to be expanded by negative 3. So it's negative 3 times x, which is negative 3x. Negative 3 multiplies 2. Remember your distributive. So it's negative 3 times a positive 2, which is negative 6. All right, we are done with this one. So this bracket of x minus 3, same, there's a plus 1. So anything multiplied by 1 is just going to remain as it is. So we're going to remain with plus x minus 3 as it is. Now we can be able to collect our like terms. We can be able to collect our like terms. So this a part of x is the same as we've got 1x. This is negative 3. This is also 1x. So we're going to add 1 plus 1, which is 2. 2 minus 3, which is minus x. So that will be minus 1x. On the numbers, you do the same thing. We've got 7, negative 6, and 1. So if you subtract here, that will be 7 minus 6, which is 1. 1 minus 3, which is a minus 2. Or just use your calculator at once. All right, so this is what you're supposed to have at the end. But now, before you underline your answer to say this is correct, before you do that, check if you can be able to factorize the numerator. Sometimes you are given a condition where the numerator factorizes. Okay? So if the numerator factorizes, try to factorize if it is like that. Like here, you can see that you can factor out a negative. You'll never know the miracle that will happen later on. So if you factor out a negative 1, we are going to be left with negative x into negative 1, that will be a positive x. Negative 2 divided by negative 1 becomes a positive 2. Everything over what? Over the bracket of x plus 2 into x minus 3. So at this stage, we can see that that miracle that I've been talking about has happened, because this bracket of x plus 2 and this bracket of x plus 2 are the same. So they can cancel each other. And that means we are just remaining with a negative 1 on top over x minus 3. So our answer, therefore, is going to be minus 1 over x minus 3. So that is the idea that you just need. So we want to see. Remember this method, we have to find the LCM, then we have to make each and every part of the denominators to be as the LCM, to be the LCM. We must have the same part. So we just have to add what is not here. It's x plus 2. We multiply by x plus 2. But we have to multiply both numerator and denominator. What is it that we are not having on x plus 2 so that it gives us x plus 2, x minus 3? We do not have x minus 3. You multiply by that, but both the numerator and what? The denominator. Of which we could have even avoided all this part that we are talking about here by doing this. Remember, I said there are two ways. So we could have avoided this by just using the LCM direct. Remember, I explained also this method. Let me just explain it in, here so that you can see. Sorry, if we have the same thing then. So remember, another method I said, what you do is that with your LCM, this one, with your LCD, the one that you are having here, which is x plus 2 over x and x minus 3, you take that and affect everything over that LCM. So you're going to say everything like this, okay? So I want you to see what you can do. Everything over the LCD, which is x plus 2 into x minus 3. So this is what you're going to do. You are going to divide back your LCD. It divides back the denominators, okay? So you divide to the what? To the denominator. So we are taking this, our LCD, x plus 2 into x minus 3 like this. We divide it by the denominator, which is x plus what? Which is x plus 2 into x minus 3. So this one, as you can see, they are the same. So they can just what cancel, we get what, a 1. It's because of they are the same. So they will cancel. But maybe if it was only 1, which is the same, it means we're going to remain with another bracket. But here there's no bracket that is remaining. We are just going to remain with the 1. So the 1 that you are remaining with is going to multiply the numerator. So whatever after dividing, you have to multiply to the numerator where we've got what? X plus 7 like this. Okay. Then we move on to the next part of fraction, which is we've got a negative there. But like I said, is the LCD divided to the what? To the denominator. So our LCD, we've got x plus 2 into x minus 3. Then we divide by the denominator, which is x minus 3. So the moment we divide by x minus 3, as you can see, this will cancel. You remain with what? With x plus 2. So it means we're going to have negative 3 into x plus 2 like this, plus you do the same thing on the x plus 2. So you're going to divide this into this, okay? So as you can see, guys, x plus 2 and x plus 2 cancel. And at that stage, you're going to be left with what? With x minus 3. So that is the idea that you're going to have. So you can expand the brackets this time, collect your like terms, simplify. So that's 1 times x, which is x. 1 times this 7, which is a 7. So that's a plus 7. Negative 1 times x, which is negative 3x. Negative 1 times a positive 2, which is a negative 6. 1 times x, which is positive 1x, which is just positive x or just positive 1x. Minus 1 times minus 1 times minus 3, that's a minus 3. So everything here is going to be affected to the denominator, which is that LCD that we obtained before, that is over x plus 2 into x minus 3. So just like the previous part, if you check here, it's just that part that we talked about, collecting of like terms. And as you can see, we've got the same expression that we had previously before we collected like terms with a similar part like this, where we had to collect our like terms, 1x plus 1x, which is 2x, minus 3x, which is minus x. Then we also talked about the variable, the constants, 7 minus 6, which is a 1, 1 minus 3, which is a minus 2. Okay, so you're going to have a minus 2 there over x plus 2 into x minus 3. So as you can see, the same answer, just like the previous question. And we said we can factor out a negative because it's common, so that we're going to have x plus 2, everything over what? X plus 2 into the bracket of x minus 3. So this will cancel. We remain with what? Negative 1 on top. So this will be negative 1 over x minus 3. And that is the same thing, or the same answer that we got from our previous calculation, or from that previous method. So it's up to you. The method there, it's up to you. You choose the one that you are comfortable with when answering question. Okay, the one that you're comfortable with. This one of maintaining the LCD in the first place, or the last one of making each term have every term that is on the LCD, it must be affected on each and every term, each and every fraction that you're given. So we shall see more questions. How are they going to be asked?